One person is hurt after a shooting in Kalamazoo County. The details we're learning from police tonight. Plus, there are just 16 days left until the November election. What Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff had to say on behalf of the vice president during his visit to West Michigan. And Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson gives tips ahead of Election Day, what she had to say about the security of this year's voting.
Covering West Michigan to protect and alert you. This is News Channel 3, live at 11.
Thank you for joining us on News Channel 3, live at 11. I'm Princess Janae Steverson. Tonight, we're learning one person was injured in a shooting in Oshtemo Township. The Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 3:15 p.m. at Beckley Road and Mount Royal Drive. That intersection is an area off Drake and KL Avenue with multiple apartment complexes. Deputies say two separate groups exchanged gunfire near that intersection. One juvenile victim was located near the scene. He was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Deputies say it's unknown right now what led up to the shooting. Anyone with any information should contact the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office. Two people are seriously injured after a crash in Ottawa County. The sheriff's office there says it happened around 10:30 yesterday morning. It was at 56th Avenue and Wilson Street. Deputies say a 55-year-old man did not stop at the intersection, causing him to collide with an incoming Ford F-250. The crash forced both the cars into the ditch. Deputies tell us the man and his 62-year-old female passenger were pinned in the vehicle. The man was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and the woman was flown to the hospital with critical injuries. The 57-year-old man driving the Ford was treated and released at the scene. The crash remains under investigation. We're taking a live look now over downtown Kalamazoo. It's been a warm weekend around West Michigan, even in mid-October. Meteorologist Will Haney is in the Weather Alert Center with a look at your forecast. Will?
Yeah, to put it in perspective a little bit, Princess, just how peculiar today's high temperatures were. The current temperatures are more typical for what we would expect for afternoon highs this time of year. And we're going to be even warmer tomorrow. Live look right now at a few other spots. You can see still holding on to low 70s at this hour in South Haven and Holland. 59, though, it's actually cooler away from Lake Michigan because Lake Michigan is still fairly warm relative to kind of the ground temperatures well away from the lake. You can see we're in the middle to upper 50s right now in Three Rivers, Sturgis, but 61 in Coldwater, 63 right now in Marshall. High temperatures, you can really see that stair-stepping climb the last several days. This is a look back, of course, but 76 was the high today. That's 16 warmer than average. And just a kind of reminder, so today's average high about 60 degrees. That's a 30-year average. Tomorrow's drops to 59, and that average high, that's considered our climatology, if you will. That stays below 60 until April 16th, 2025. But Mother Nature has different plans this year. You can see our forecast high for tomorrow, 80 degrees. So that'll be about 20 warmer than our average. And then we'll stay really mild into Thursday as well, ahead of a system on Wednesday. We'll detail that coming up a little later.
So look, we got 16 days to save our country. That's it. We're in the home stretch. It's right now. So I think
United States Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff is doing his best to rally votes for his wife and her vice presidential running mate in the upcoming presidential election. And with absentee voting now underway in our state, a key battleground state, by the way, Emhoff is making his rounds today in Michigan, encouraging everyone to vote early and to vote blue.
the last time I saw her was a week ago, which was my birthday. Don't sing. Do not sing. No. But I'm flying to Philadelphia right after this because it's her birthday today.
Sunday afternoon in Grand Rapids, Michigan, at a local youth center, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff told supporters of the Harris-Walz campaign that because time is of the essence, not even a birthday celebration with his wife and Democratic nominee for president would stop him from campaigning.
So you are lucky. You can dictate what our future looks like. Do you want a future of opportunity, a future of freedom, a future of moving forward? Then let's just get it done. Let's just get it done.
Emhoff spent the day talking about how if elected to the White House, Vice President Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz would ensure that small businesses stay afloat because they understand how jobs and employment work. To back up his claims, Imhoff used his 30-year background as a business lawyer and one of the world's wealthiest entrepreneurs, minority owner of the NBA Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban.
And remember, small businesses are 99.5% of all businesses. Small businesses create more than 55% of new jobs. Do small businesses matter? Yes. Small businesses are everything. That's where the growth comes from, and Kamala understands that.
But Donald Trump's plan, which is just more tax cuts for billionaires, more tax cuts for the biggest corporations who don't need it, which has driven our deficit up into the almost $9 trillion. And what has she got? A real plan that works for all of you.
A plan that he says will be a domino effect into better affordable housing and Medicare plans for seniors. U.S. Representative Hillary Scholten also chimed in advocating for the Harris-Walz campaign. She also sits on the Michigan House of the Small Business Committee.
Trump has sown chaos with serious economic consequences at every turn, closing 3 auto plants in Michigan. While she's been vice president, she's helped usher in a record 19 million new business applications. She wants to top that.
Get out there and actively support Kamala Harris. Pick your country over party.
The Harris-Walz campaign is not letting up when trying to secure majority votes. Tomorrow, Harris will join former Congresswoman Liz Cheney for moderated conversations in suburban communities across Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and right here in Michigan. Her campaign says she'll be in Oakland County tomorrow afternoon. Then on Tuesday, former President Barack Obama will rally in voters in Detroit on behalf of the Harris-Walz campaign. He'll be there as Detroit continues its early voting, which started yesterday. And then former First Lady Michelle Obama and Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Michigan this coming Saturday for a joint Get Out the Vote rally. It will be Michelle Obama's first event on the campaign trail for the Harris-Walz campaign. It comes on the first day of early voting statewide. Additional details about their visit is unknown at this time. The general election is now only 16 days away, and Vice President Kamala Harris celebrated a milestone birthday in Georgia today. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is focusing on Pennsylvania, which could bring victory to either candidate. Natalie Brand reports with more from Washington.
And we've got to fulfill the book.
Musical legend Stevie Wonder serenaded Vice President Kamala Harris as she spent her 60th birthday holding back-to-back events on the campaign trail. Just over 2 weeks until Election Day, the Democratic nominee encouraged early voting in Georgia, where 16 electoral votes are up for grabs.
And so I thank you for all you are willing to do to continue to be leaders in this community, to get folks out to vote.
She also appeared at the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in the city of Stonecrest outside Atlanta.
What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of chaos, fear, and hate, or a country of freedom, compassion, and justice?
In battleground Pennsylvania Sunday, former President Donald Trump told reporters he spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
I congratulated him on obviously doing a very good job keeping Israel safe.
The call comes after Israeli troops killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and following a reported Hezbollah drone attack on Netanyahu's coastal home. Trump then visited a McDonald's, trying his hand at the fry machine. Trump has claimed without evidence that Harris never worked at the fast food chain, an early job she cited during her campaign.
In other words, she's lying, Kamala.
Later Sunday, Trump held a town hall with voters in Lancaster. And in an appeal to Pennsylvania's diehard football fans, he's expected to attend a Steelers game in Pittsburgh. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Ahead of Election Day, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson spoke at an online voting rights town hall. She outlined details about who can vote, early voting, what to expect on Election Day, and how her office is working to prevent voting misinformation.
We have set up a website, michigan.gov/election-facts, that goes through and addresses all of the conspiracy theories, because we believe the best way to counter misinformation and promote accurate facts about the security of our elections is through transparency and sharing information far and wide.
Tomorrow is the last day for Michigan citizens to register online or by mail to vote in the November 5th election. You can register to vote online at michigan.gov/vote or by mailing or scanning and emailing a completed application to your local clerk by tomorrow. Absentee ballots are already out and voters are encouraged to mail it immediately to avoid postal delays or hand deliver to their clerk's office or a secure ballot drop box. After that, early voting sites will be open statewide next Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. With the November 5th election fast approaching, News Channel 3 wants to help you get to know your candidates. We've created a special section on our website to help you make informed decisions during this campaign season. Our Know Your Candidates page features interviews with some of the candidates. We have asked each of them running for the same office the same series of questions. You can check it out now by going to the news section on WWMT.com and clicking on Know Your Candidates. Well, we have a traffic alert for you ahead of your Monday morning commute. The city of Kalamazoo says Kalamazoo Avenue between Westnedge Avenue and Park Street will have a traffic shift tomorrow morning. It's for utility upgrade work. You can see the exact location on your screen right now. The north 2 lanes will be closed, but the southern lanes will stay open. The work is scheduled to be done this Friday. The Michigan DNR says they're releasing rooster pheasants in 13 state game areas this fall. The releases started today and will continue until November 14th, as well as the whole month of December, which coincides with pheasant hunting season. The locations include Cornish State Game Area in Van Buren County, Crane Pond and Cass County, and Lidi Lake in St. Joseph County. The DNR says hunters must follow pheasant hunting regulations, license requirements, and bag limits, and that only
With Touchdown Trivia, you could score a daily $100 prepaid debit card and be the $5,000 National Weekly winner. For complete rules, go to WWMT.com/contest. Sponsored by Roach Roofing, the big name in roofing. Thank you for turning to News Channel 3 at 11. The news continues right now.
Welcome back. States across the country are getting millions of dollars in opioid settlement dollars to fight the opioid epidemic. How that money is spent could mean the difference between life and death for some. Spotlight on America investigative reporter Angie Moreski looks at the debate over spend now versus invest for the future strategies.
Shylin Scubis is a resident of West Virginia Sober Living Solutions in Morgantown, West Virginia. She transferred here after spending a year in jail on drug-related charges.
I was addicted to drugs. I fell into a dark spot in my life, led me to incarceration.
Providing opioid settlement money to recovery homes is one of the ways experts say those dollars can have immediate impact.
Do you need any Narcan?
Along with harm reduction services like distributing the overdose reversal medication naloxone and making substance use treatment more available.
Right now I'm focused on me and my recovery and, getting on my own 2 feet again.
What are some of the pros and cons of spend now or save for later?
There are no pros for save for later.
Jonathan Stoltman is executive director of the Opioid Policy Institute.
We're still in an active crisis right now, so it makes sense to spend the money as quickly and as effectively as possible on the things that we know work.
Our concern is not so much the past, it's the future.
Jonathan Board is executive director of the West Virginia First Foundation, a private nonprofit created by the state to distribute the bulk of West Virginia's settlement money. He takes a different approach.
We know certain areas of recovery are really important, but we have to start thinking generationally too.
Board agrees money needs to be spent now, but also wants to take a long-term approach to reduce the likelihood of the addiction cycle continuing.
We need to take an eye and move a little bit upstream to prevention as well. That's where we change fundamentally the trajectory of this state.
West Virginia has the worst overdose rate in the country, 3 times the national average, and it's having an overwhelming impact on the children of substance users.
In West Virginia, over 50% of all of their children are being raised by someone other than their parents. As a small state, if we want to exist and thrive, we have to solve problems for our children and grandchildren. It's not just the here and now.
Board wants to see more money go to things like youth prevention services and foster care. But addiction experts say it's hard to fix the future when the crisis now is still so bad, with about 100,000 people nationwide dying every year of overdoses.
The crisis isn't going to end tomorrow or even next year. This is going to go on for years.
No, that's absolutely right. That's not to say that prevention isn't important, but we also know prevention is a real long game. Think about it as like the building is on fire. The first thing that you got to do is put out the flames.
With more than $1 billion in opioid settlement money expected for West Virginia alone, Board is determined to make investing in the future part of their solution.
We have to think broadly. If we isolate or have tunnel vision, we won't solve this in any meaningful fashion.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Angie Moreski.
In Georgia, a celebration turns to tragedy after a ferry dock partially collapsed Saturday, killing at least 7 people and injuring several others. Authorities are working to identify the cause of the collapse on Georgia's Sapelo Island. It happened as crowds gathered on Sapelo for a celebration of its Gullah Geechee community, which is made up of the descendants of black slaves. Among the victims, 8 were taken to hospitals, including 6 who were critically injured. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden have released statements in response to the incident. Hurricane Oscar is bearing down on Cuba as the island nation struggles to restore power after its worst blackout in years. Oscar made landfall early today as a Category 1 storm over the southernmost island in the Bahamas. The system is then expected to move across eastern Cuba tonight and Monday. The National Hurricane Center says Oscar will then accelerate northeastward Tuesday, but adds it does not pose any threat to the United States.
Yeah, that's the good news for us at least, but of course a very damaging storm for parts of Cuba. As we look live right now in Vicksburg, Cyborg. All right, not the case. We're going to be seeing some clear skies tonight and some very mild temperatures. Actually, kind of a core of even warmer air is moving in tonight, and that's why we've only cooled into the upper 50s, low 60s. This is a great shot of some sandhill cranes out in the field in Schoolcraft from Sue Freemeyer, very talented photographer. We always love your photos, Sue, and you can chime in your pics at WWMT.com. But if you've never seen those guys, I'm hopefully living in West Michigan you have, but lots near bodies of water right now. And there's some, I believe, that stay year-round, but a lot of them do migrate south, or even, I think, some just to bodies of water kind of in and around the Great Lakes. So just a fascinating bird. They sound super loud too. 80 for tomorrow with a record high of 86. I don't think we're necessarily within reach of that, but just kind of for perspective, we're within kind of the ballpark, if you will. 75 for Tuesday, and then we'll kind of drop things down through Thursday. But then temperatures are going to warm up quite a bit as we get into next weekend. Satellite and radar clear for now, and we still have high pressure locked in. You'd have to travel a couple hundred miles to see any sort of even cloud cover. The clouds will eventually return to the sky on Tuesday late in the day. You can see the gray on the map there. Thumbnail for Wednesday showing some precipitation to our north, but lacking farther south. Thursday's dry before now a little bit more green on the map for Friday, indicating a chance now of some showers. The front, though, on Wednesday, the timing is a little earlier, and with that, I think it's going to be less likely, even than it was looking yesterday, that we see much in the way of rain. If we do, I think it's just some essentially sprinkles, not much in the way of anything in the rain gauge. High pressure also scoots in here very quickly to follow that up on Thursday, which, like we were seeing in that daily thumbnail, clears us out pretty quick with more sunshine expected. But yeah, rainfall is going to be minimal with that system. I think we'll not see anything that's actually going to measure up in it, like I said, any of the rain gauges. So very, very above average these next several days. Then we'll come down into Thursday. Things will trend eventually warmer than average or above normal as we get into the tail end of this month. And those are more 70s in sight as we approach I almost said Thanksgiving, Halloween to end the month. It's looking fairly likely, I think, that we could see some 70s. This is that signal in our upper level setup. This is now looking at next week, but a big surge of some warm air across the eastern U.S. Again, going to be a very above average, I think, Halloween for many of us. 59 right now in Kalamazoo, that wind out of the south-southwest. Let's take a quick peek outside, jump ahead to your live look over downtown Kalamazoo on this Sunday night. Starry skies out there, moonlit skies too. Your 7-day forecast, kind of how the Lions game was earlier. So this is like second quarter, third quarter. And then we come down a little bit, your emotions, like towards the fourth quarter into Thursday, but then it gets better towards the end. Low 60s and some really nice weather next weekend. It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, that game earlier, if you couldn't tell. So, yeah, there's a little forecast analogy for you.
Right, and you're trying to skip Halloween, go straight to Thanksgiving. Maybe it's all that apple cider we've been having at the station.
Very unintentional. I did not want to skip Halloween. I love Halloween. So.
Oh, okay, so that means you have a costume planned.
Negative. Moving out.
Here's $165 a month on that blazer. Nobody does it like Sundance. Don't let them kid you. There's over 1,000 cars in inventory, and we want to show you every one so you get the value. Come see us.
Another nail-biter from the Detroit Lions tonight as they took on the Minnesota Vikings in an NFC North showdown. The Lions came out slow and found themselves quickly down 10-0, but the second quarter was the opposite. Jahmyr Gibbs with a 45-yard touchdown, Amon-Ra St. Brown with a 35-yard touchdown for the lead, and Gibbs added a second touchdown just before the half, giving the Lions a 21-10 halftime advantage. Minnesota started the fourth quarter with 2 field goals, then forced a David Montgomery fumble that Ivan Pace Jr. returned for a go-ahead touchdown. The Lions had one final chance to reach rookie kicker Jake Bates' range. He hit a 44-yard field goal with 15 seconds left, sending the Lions over for the win, 31-29. The Lions will host the Tennessee Titans next Sunday afternoon. And our game of the week voting is back again for Week 9. Undefeated Union City host Buchanan. Constantine is at Lawton, and rivals K Central.
Like tons of slots. Come to Papa. Table games. Hot dog. Even DraftKings casino exclusives.
Hart. Kevin Hart. New customers play $5 to get 50 in casino credits instantly.
Finally tonight, whether it's a Granny Smith, a Red Delicious, or a Honey Crisp, make sure to eat an apple tomorrow for National Apple Day. Apples have been around for millions of years, and in the early 1800s, Johnny Eastman, most commonly known as Johnny Appleseed, traveled throughout the Midwest, planting the trees and educating farmers on the crop. Today, there are more than 7,000 varieties worldwide.
I was at an apple farm locally, and I saw some apples named Luda Crisp apples last weekend. I was like, they've got a variety for everything.